Everybody is busy solving adulthood like it's quantum physics. Turns out, life's more of a game with cheat codes of its own. We will explore them in this video. This is that moment you find the answers written under the desk. 100 real moves, 0 fluff. Try one today and your brain will high-five you. Try 10 and your to-do list might start running from you. Watch them and use them. And hey, drop a comment. Which one of these hacks do you already live by? Which one surprised you the most? Or what's your personal cheat code that we missed? Because if it helped you, it might help someone else too. Let's make this a cheat code swap meet. Bonus points for dark humor, confessions, and the weirdest micro habit that secretly gets you through Monday mornings. Now let's begin with where it hurts most. Chapter 1. Time and energy. Because how you spend your hours is how you spend your life. Ready to find 30 minutes you didn't know you had? Let's go. Cheat code number 1. The 2-minute rule. Have you ever noticed how the tiniest undone tasks weigh the heaviest? Not the big ones. The email mom kind. The cancel that trial kind. This is what the 2-minute rule dissolves. You see the task, call the dentist. You think, I will get to it later. But days pass, and each time you see it, a little dread returns. Now imagine, you pick up the phone. 30 seconds. Done. Tab closed. Mental RAM cleared. Why it works? Because incomplete tasks stay open in your mind. It's called the Zeigarnik effect. Your brain holds onto what's unfinished. Finishing them frees up attention and willpower you didn't know you were spending. Use it everywhere. File that doc. Send that text. Move that laundry. So next time something takes less than 2 minutes, do it. Not later. It's one of the quietest ways to build momentum, and one of the fastest ways to feel like you're back in control. But what if the real energy leak isn't the task? It's how you start your day? Cheat code number 2, no inbox sunrise. Your alarm goes off. Within 30 seconds, you're in email, or scrolling, or checking group chats. You didn't just wake up. You got hijacked. This cheat code is brutal because it sounds so simple. No inputs in the first hour. No email. No news. No notifications. Because the moment you start with someone else's agenda, your focus is no longer yours. It's not discipline, it's protection. Your first hour is prime real estate, and what you do with it determines how you show up for the rest of the day. Instead of input, try output. Journal. Plan. Move your body. Eat with intention. Set one clear focus. You're not rejecting the world. You're reclaiming your center. So next time you wake up, ask, do I want to respond to the world or lead it? And if the morning sets the tone, what does your calendar really say about your values? Cheat code number 3. Calendar equals character. What gets scheduled gets done. But more importantly, what's not scheduled doesn't exist. We say things like, I care about learning. I value time with my family. I want to write more. But does your calendar agree? Every unscheduled goal is just a wish. Every blocked off hour is a vote for the kind of life you're actually building. Even 30-minute blocks matter. Reading equals scheduled. Gym equals scheduled. Deep work equals scheduled. Doing nothing equals also scheduled. This is how high performers operate. Not with more hustle, just better boundaries. So next time you look at your week, ask, does this reflect what I say matters to me? And once you have aligned your time, how do you generate momentum first thing in the morning? Cheat code number 4, hard thing before coffee. Before the world can interrupt you, before your brain gets noisy, do one thing that scares you a little. A cold call. The draft you have been avoiding. that hard conversation. This is the cheat code to beating procrastination. Do the hard thing first, before your brain has time to argue. Because willpower is highest in the morning. And every time you conquer resistance early, the rest of the day feels downhill. It doesn't have to be big. It just has to be real. You will feel it, that mix of dread and clarity. So next time it's 8:45 a.m., pick your dragon. Slay it. Then enjoy the dopamine dividend all day long. But doing hard things drains energy fast. How do you keep your mental battery from crashing by noon? Cheat code number 5. Batch brain trick. Ever wondered why some days feel exhausting, even if you didn't do much? It's not the workload. It's the switching. Writing, then texting, then Zoom, then groceries, then editing, then replying. Each switch costs you a little mental energy. Over time, that cost becomes fatigue. So here's your upgrade. Batch your brain. Emails? All in one go. Meetings? Cluster them. Errands? One block. Creative work? Guard it like treasure. You're not a machine that runs on time. You're a mind that runs on focus. Batching preserves it. Switching bleeds it. So next time your day looks scattered, cluster. Don't scatter. And watch how much energy you still have at 4 p.m. But sometimes it's not the task or the timing. It's the truth that you're carrying too many obligations to begin with. Cheat code number 6. Obligation detox. Ever said yes when you meant no, and then resented it for days? Overcommitting is the hidden tax on your attention. Most people don't lack time. They're just bleeding it into things they never really agreed to. This cheat code is subtraction. What can you say no to? What commitment was made from guilt, not alignment? What can be delayed, declined, or delegated? When you remove one draining thing, you make space for 10 energizing ones. So next time you're overwhelmed, ask, what can I not do today? Less isn't lazy. It's leverage. And speaking of leverage, let's look at the smallest habit that gives you back hours a week. Cheat code number 7. The one-touch rule. Ever opened an email, read it, closed it, then opened it again later, read it again, and still didn't respond? That's not multitasking. That's mental clutter in disguise. This is where the one-touch rule comes in. It's deceptively simple. When you touch it, act. Reply. Delete. Delegate. But don't leave it open. Why, it works. Every unfinished item becomes a low-level energy leak. Your brain keeps checking in, wondering, did we deal with that yet? And every revisit eats up time without moving you forward. Think of it like digital laundry. Fold it once. Put it away. Done. Use this with paperwork, notifications, even physical clutter. It's not about speed. It's about finality. So next time you catch yourself checking something again, touch it once, then close the loop. But what if you could do even less and still get more done? This next one flips hustle culture on its head. Cheat code number 8. Deadline overdrive. Here's a secret. Most productive people aren't motivated. They're just scheduled. Motivation is emotional. Deadlines are structural. You can wait to feel like it, or you can set a timer, give yourself constraints, and move anyway. This cheat code flips the switch from trying to deciding. Write the blog post in 45 minutes. Edit the video by Friday at noon. Call your accountant before 2 p.m. today. The moment you give a task a when, it becomes real. And here's the magic. Deadlines actually free you. They eliminate the should I do this now or later loop that exhausts so much energy. Want motivation? Try urgency. It's the shortcut most people avoid. So next time you're stuck, don't wait for the spark. Set the clock, start the clock, and finish before the bell rings. But even with time and energy dialed in, there's one more lever that expands your day without adding hours. Cheat code number 9, attention time warp. Ever had a day fly by and you barely remember it? That's not time moving fast. That's attention scattered thin. Conversely, remember that hour where you were totally locked in? Deep in flow, zero distractions? That 1 hour felt like 5. Here's the truth. You don't need more time. You need more focus. This cheat code is about attention hygiene. Turn off notifications. Block distractions with tools like Freedom or Cold Turkey. Use noise canceling, airplane mode, and clear desk rituals. Batch meetings to protect focus blocks. Time feels longer when you're inside it, not hovering above it. So next time you feel rushed or fractured, ask, what is stealing my attention right now? Reclaim it, protect it, expand it. And finally, before we close out this chapter, what if most of your to-do list wasn't even yours to begin with? Cheat code number 10, guilt-free cut. Take a look at your to-do list. Really look. How many of those items feel heavy, vague, ancient? That thing you have copied over from last week to this week to the week before that? Here's the reframe. Most to-dos aren't actual priorities. They're just guilt artifacts. They live on the list not because they're urgent or important, but because deleting them feels wrong. Like you're quitting. But here's the unlock. Deleting them isn't quitting. It's deciding. It's the discipline of saying, this isn't mine. Not anymore. This cheat code is brutal, but it's freeing. Don't want to learn that language? Cut it. Not starting that side project? Let it go. Still meaning to reach out to that person you barely know? Archive it. Because clarity isn't just about knowing what to do. It's about knowing what to drop. So next time you feel overwhelmed, try this. Cross off 5 things you know you're not doing. Feel the lift. That's energy coming back online. You have just earned back hours of time, dozens of micro decisions, and more energy than you realize. Not by doing more, but by doing less on purpose. And here's the wild part. You're just getting warmed up. You have cleaned up your calendar, reclaimed your attention, killed a dozen invisible time leaks. But even now, something still hijacks your progress. A tiny voice, a subtle script. It's not your phone. It's not your inbox. It's your mind. So let's go deeper. Chapter 2, Mindset Reset. Your thoughts are not facts, but you have been acting like they are. You don't need another life hack. You need to update the OS behind the hacks. This chapter is about clearing mental malware. Let's reset your mindset with 10 cheat codes that don't just change how you think. They change what thinking feels like. Cheat code number 11, the good reason rule. Someone cuts you off. A coworker sends a curt message. A stranger snaps in line. Our default response? What's wrong with them? But here's the mental jiu-jitsu. Assume they're not mean. They're maxed out. This cheat code shifts your emotional stance from defense to compassion. Why it works? Your brain is wired to detect threat fast. But that same wiring can misfire in modern life. Stress, overwhelm, sleep deprivation, they all look like hostility when viewed through fear. This doesn't excuse bad behavior, but it makes it livable, bearable, forgivable. Apply it with partners, colleagues, random baristas, even to yourself. Because when you assume good intent, you don't just defuse them, you calm you. People aren't problems to solve. They're puzzles with pressure points. But what about the stuff inside you? The thoughts that won't shut up, the emotions you try to ignore. Cheat code number 12. Push away, it stays paradox. Ever try not to feel anxious? Or force yourself to calm down? It's like holding a beach ball underwater. The more you fight it, the stronger it pushes back. This cheat code flips it. Let the emotion rise. Name it. Breathe into it. And then it passes. Why it works? Your nervous system is designed to move through emotion, not avoid it. But when you suppress, you trap it. And trapped emotion becomes tension. Use this in panic spirals, frustration loops, shame triggers, sudden overwhelm. This isn't toxic positivity. It's psychological aikido. You don't have to fix the feeling. Just feel it. That's how it shifts. But how do you stay grounded when your mind's running in circles? Cheat code number 13. Here and now magic. You're folding laundry, but replaying yesterday's awkward conversation. You're in a meeting, but already stressing about tonight. You're nowhere and everywhere. This cheat code is your anchor. Be where your feet are. Why it works? Anxiety lives in the future. Regret lives in the past. But peace? It's here. With your feet on the floor. Your breath in your chest. This technique is used in therapy, elite sports, mindfulness, and trauma recovery. It's not flashy, but it's fierce. Use it by asking, where are my feet? What's touching my skin? What's one thing I can see, hear, feel? The body lives in the now. And when you return to it, you return to yourself. Still feeling stuck? Maybe it's not indecision. Maybe it's just disguised anxiety. Cheat code number 14. The maybe myth. How long have you been stuck in maybe? Maybe I will quit that job. Maybe I will end that relationship. Maybe I will start after this week. Maybe feels safe. But it's mental purgatory. This cheat code is about drawing the line. Make the call. Move or release. Why it works? Indecision keeps your brain in a loop, endlessly simulating outcomes. It's exhausting. Deciding isn't always easy, but not deciding? That's a full-time job. Clarity isn't about knowing. It's about choosing. But what if the problem isn't your decision? It's the emotion that's driving it? Cheat code number 15. Feeling detective mode. You feel worthless. You feel behind. You feel like everyone's ahead of you. Feelings are real, but they're not always true. This cheat code invites you to pause and ask, what triggered this? Is this about now, or is it old? Why it works? Emotions are messengers, not masters. They carry data, not orders. Use this in shame spirals, sudden envy, unexplainable irritability. Investigate with curiosity, not judgment. Think, what story is this emotion telling me? You can feel bad and still lead your life. And speaking of bad days, what if lazy isn't your flaw? It's your warning signal? Cheat code number 16. Not lazy, just too much. You stare at your to-do list. Nothing moves. You call yourself lazy. But what if the truth is, you don't know where to start, not that you don't want to. This cheat code reframes paralysis as a sign of overload. Too many tabs. Not enough clarity. Try this. Pick one micro step. Take the pressure off the outcome. Do one small thing badly. Why it works? Progress shrinks overwhelm. Clarity returns confidence. And momentum builds energy. You don't need more motivation. You need less chaos. So when you're feeling low, how do you still show up? Cheat code number 17. Bad mood, still do rule. You don't need to wait until you feel good. You don't need perfect clarity or peace. You just need to move even while feeling messy. This cheat code separates identity from mood. I feel like a failure is equal I am one. I feel tired is equal I can't do anything. It's emotional weightlifting. Small reps, big results. Use this on low energy days, post-argument hours, days when motivation has left the building. Action isn't the reward for good feelings. It's the path through them. You don't need a new personality. You need a new lens. Because mindset isn't just positive thinking, it's accurate seeing. These cheat codes strip away distortion, defense, and delay. And what's left? Unedited. Capable. You don't need more discipline. You need less distortion. Now, as we have rewritten the inner narrative, you have softened the critic, shortened the spiral, and stepped back from the edge of emotional collapse. But here's the twist. Action isn't the reward for good feelings. It's the path through them. Awareness isn't the end. It's the beginning. Cheat code number 18. Perfect fear mask. Perfectionism often gets a shiny reputation. It's seen as discipline, excellence, or ambition. But beneath that polished surface lies something else. Fear. Fear of failure, fear of judgment, fear of not being enough. It's fear cleverly disguised, dressed up in shoulds and musts. Imagine you're avoiding starting a project. Instead of admitting you're scared, you tell yourself, I need it to be perfect. That perfect standard isn't about quality. It's a shield against the discomfort of uncertainty. It's procrastination masquerading as high standards. Psychologically, perfectionism creates a cycle of stress and avoidance. The brain associates mistakes with threat, triggering anxiety and freezing action. The good branding of perfectionism makes it socially acceptable, even praised, which keeps us trapped. But what if you reframed perfectionism as just fear in disguise? What if you started meeting your fear with curiosity, not judgment? That shift opens a door to freedom. And speaking of the brain's wiring for survival, here's the next truth. Your brain's number one job isn't to make you happy. It's something very different. Cheat code number 19. Brain's safety first plan. Your brain is a survival machine, not a happiness factory. It's wired to detect danger, prioritize threats, and protect you from harm, even if that means sacrificing joy or comfort in the short term. This explains why your brain often fixates on negative thoughts or worst-case scenarios. It's not pessimism, it's primal survival instinct. Think of your amygdala as an alarm system. It's easier to trigger than to turn off because evolution favored over caution. When you feel anxious or stuck, it's your brain doing its job. But this survival mode can hijack your life, creating chronic stress, indecision, and emotional exhaustion. Understanding this rewires your relationship with your own mind. Instead of blaming yourself for negative thinking, you can recognize it as your brain trying to keep you safe. This awareness is the first step to managing those reactions consciously. Yet, inside your mind, there's another voice, the inner critic. And here's the surprising part. It's not what you think. Cheat code number 20. Inner child whisper. That harsh inner voice you hear? The one that tells you you're not enough, that you will fail or disappoint. It's not your enemy. It's a scared little part of you trying to protect you. Think of the inner critic as an inner child who's been hurt or misunderstood. This child fears rejection, punishment, or loneliness, so it uses criticism as a defense mechanism. It tries to keep you safe by warning you away from risks or mistakes. Many adults don't realize this voice isn't a reflection of reality but a survival tactic developed long ago. The more you fight or ignore it, the louder it gets. But if you approach it with compassion, acknowledging the fear beneath the criticism, you start to disarm it. This awareness can transform self-talk from sabotage into support. Your inner critic wants safety, but it doesn't know how to give it without hurting you. And as you learn to soothe that inner child, you will discover a new way to master your emotions, starting with a simple but powerful trick. You don't need more discipline, you need less distortion. When you see perfectionism, negativity, and inner criticism for what they really are, you unlock true mindset freedom. Now, what if the emotions you have been battling weren't enemies, but messages waiting to be understood? Stay tuned to discover how mastering your emotional dashboard can change everything. Chapter 3: Emotional Mastery. What if emotions are signals giving you important info? Instead of fighting feelings, what if you could read them like a map? Let's dive into some surprisingly simple ways to take control, not by pushing feelings away, but by understanding and working with them. Cheat code number 21. Name it, tame it trick. Have you ever been swept up in a rush of emotion without really knowing why? That confusion makes feelings feel bigger, scarier, and harder to handle. Here's a little secret. Simply naming what you're feeling is the first step to calming it down. Imagine feeling anxious but not saying it out loud. That anxiety grows in the shadows. Now picture saying quietly, "I'm feeling anxious." That act pulls the feeling into the light. Why does this work? When you give your emotion a name, your brain shifts gears. It moves from reacting to understanding. Suddenly, the storm isn't so overwhelming. This doesn't mean your feelings disappear, but naming them creates space. A pause that lets you decide your next move. Naming emotions isn't about controlling feelings. It's about recognizing them so they don't control you. But what if emotions aren't meant to be held tightly? What happens when you let them flow instead of clinging? That's where we head next. Cheat code number 22. Emotions like weather. Emotions don't last forever. Think of them like weather, sometimes sunny, sometimes stormy. The trick isn't stopping the storm, it's not setting up camp inside it. Imagine you're caught in a wave of anger or sadness. You can either unpack your bags and live there, or you can notice the storm, wait it out, and move on. Holding on to emotions too tightly is exhausting. But when you treat feelings like visitors who come and go, they lose their power to weigh you down. This approach changes everything. Instead of battling your feelings, you allow them to come and leave naturally. Emotions are signals passing through, not permanent residents. Letting them move on lightens your load. Still, some feelings don't just pass, they linger. What if regret wasn't a burden but a guide? Let's explore that next. Cheat code number 23. Regrets are just clues. Regret can feel like a heavy chain dragging you back. But what if regret was actually useful, like a signpost pointing to what needs attention? Think about a mistake you made. You can either stew in regret or ask, "What can I learn from this?" That simple question turns regret into valuable information, not punishment. Shame, on the other hand, is the voice telling you, "You're bad." It's optional and often unhelpful. You can acknowledge mistakes without letting shame take over. Separating regret from shame frees you to grow without beating yourself up. It's the difference between saying, "I did something wrong," and "I am wrong." Regret teaches, shame destroys. Choose to learn, not to suffer. Now, there's a subtle but powerful difference in how you talk about emotions. Ready to hear it? The next tip might just change your relationship with your feelings forever. Cheat code number 24. I notice power talk. Have you ever said, "I am angry," or "I am anxious," and instantly felt trapped by that feeling? It's like you're labeling yourself, making the emotion part of who you are. But what if there was a small phrase that could change your entire experience? Try this. Instead of "I am angry," say, "I notice I'm feeling angry." This tiny shift creates distance between you and your emotions. You become the observer rather than the emotion itself. That space makes feelings less overwhelming and easier to manage. Why does this matter? When emotions feel like facts, they can control your actions. But when you notice feelings as temporary visitors, you regain control. Your brain doesn't have to interpret them as permanent truths. Saying, "I notice I'm feeling ____" helps you observe your emotions without becoming them, giving you more power to respond calmly. But sometimes, the feelings we notice are layered, like anger, which might be hiding something deeper. What's really beneath the surface? Cheat code number 25. Anger's hidden sadness. Anger can be loud and fierce, but beneath that storm often lies something quieter: grief. Have you ever wondered why anger sometimes feels so raw, almost like pain in disguise? Grief isn't just sadness about death, it's about loss in all forms. Maybe it's a lost opportunity, broken trust, or unmet expectations. When these feelings aren't fully acknowledged, your brain might swap them for anger because it feels more active or easier to express. Here's the twist. If you can gently explore your anger as a signpost pointing toward grief, you open the door to true healing. Instead of pushing away anger or reacting impulsively, you can ask, "What am I really mourning here?" That question softens the anger and makes space for tenderness, turning reaction into understanding. Anger often masks unexpressed grief, and uncovering this grief can transform how you handle your emotions. But if feelings can be this layered, how trustworthy are your thoughts when you're exhausted? Cheat code number 26. Tired brain warning. Ever made a decision late at night or after a long, draining day and instantly regretted it? That's because tired brains don't think straight. When you're exhausted, your mind shortcuts to worry, fear, or negative thinking, often exaggerating problems. Your tired brain craves quick fixes but struggles to see nuance or long-term consequences. Decisions made in this fog tend to be less accurate or helpful. This isn't about willpower, it's biology. Your brain's resources are low, so it defaults to survival mode. That means more emotional reactivity and less clear reasoning. Knowing this gives you a simple superpower: pause. Delay big decisions or emotional conversations until you're rested. Your clearer, refreshed brain will see things more accurately and respond more wisely. When tired, your thoughts are often distorted. Rest first, decide later. But if fatigue can cloud your mind, what really causes that crushing sense of overwhelm? Cheat code number 27. Avoidance overload. You might think overwhelm means you have too much to do. But often, it's not about how many tasks you have, it's about what you're avoiding. Avoidance allows worries and tasks to grow bigger in your mind, turning simple to dose into looming monsters. The more you push things aside, the more mental energy they consume until you feel buried. Here's the key: the solution isn't to tackle everything at once. It's about taking small steps toward what you have been avoiding. Even tiny progress releases tension and makes the mountain smaller. Overwhelm isn't a measure of workload, it's a signal that you're stuck. Moving forward, even in small ways, breaks that stuck feeling. Avoidance feeds overwhelm. Taking tiny actions shrinks it and restores control. But sometimes, the biggest relief comes from knowing you don't have to solve every problem you encounter. Cheat code number 28. Not every problem is yours. Life throws crises at us all the time, from family dramas to work fires. It's easy to feel obligated to jump into every mess. But your energy isn't unlimited, and you don't have to be everywhere all at once. Choosing when to engage is a skill. Sometimes, stepping back is the healthiest choice. It protects your peace, lets you focus on what truly matters, and prevents burnout. Saying no isn't selfish. It's essential for your well-being. Boundaries aren't walls. They're guardrails that keep you balanced. When you protect your emotional space, you can show up more fully where it counts. Not every crisis needs your attention. Prioritize your peace by choosing what to engage with. Before you respond to the next emotional flare-up, there's a simple trick that can change your whole reaction. Cheat code number 29. Walk before you react. Ever snapped at someone and instantly regretted it? That split-second reaction often escalates conflict or leads to hurt feelings. But what if you had a tool to slow things down? Taking a walk, even a quick one, before responding physically shifts your brain and body. Movement lowers stress hormones, slows your heart rate, and clears mental fog. This pause gives your mind time to cool and rethink. Walking isn't about escaping. It's about creating space to choose your response wisely instead of reacting impulsively. It helps you move from emotional reactivity to calm, thoughtful action. A simple walk before reacting can transform conflict into calm communication. And here's a fascinating truth. Your body speaks a language your mind can barely hear through your breath. Cheat code number 30. Breath speaks for you. Your nervous system is constantly communicating, but not in words. Instead, it talks through your breath, heartbeat, and body signals. When you're stressed, your breathing becomes quick and shallow, often without you realizing it. But slow, deep breaths send a powerful message to your brain. It's safe now. This calms your nervous system instantly, helping you feel grounded and clear-headed. Learning to tune into your breath lets you regulate emotions in real time. Breath is the bridge between how you feel and how you act. Mastering it can be a game changer for managing stress and staying centered. Breath is your body's language. Controlling it calms your nervous system and emotions fast. Naming feelings, letting emotions flow, and reframing regret are powerful tools. They turn emotional chaos into clarity, giving you control instead of confusion. What if the way you feel is actually shaped by the way you speak? Your words don't just describe emotions, they influence them. But what if the way you talk about your feelings doesn't just reflect your emotions, it actually shapes them? Up next, how your words can transform every relationship you have. Coming up, we dive into how communication really works, the secret power behind listening, silence, and mirroring that builds trust and stops most conflicts before they start. Chapter 4. Communication and Social Intelligence. Most arguments aren't about content, they're about feeling unseen. We think debates happen because of differing facts, but actually, it's because someone feels ignored or misunderstood. When people don't feel seen, frustration rises, and voices get louder. This chapter dives into simple yet powerful ways to connect, listen, and truly understand, so conversations feel like bridges, not battles. Let's explore how small shifts in communication create big changes in relationships. Cheat code number 31. Echo before answer. Have you ever noticed how quickly conversations spiral into misunderstandings? Most of the time, it's not because of what's said, but because people don't feel truly heard. One of the simplest ways to build understanding is to repeat what the other person just said before responding. This doesn't mean mindlessly echoing their words. Instead, It's about showing you're really listening and valuing their perspective. When you do this, it lowers defenses and helps people feel respected and validated. This creates space for calmer, clearer dialogue. Repeating what someone says confirms that you're listening and builds trust. But what if you're unsure whether someone wants advice or just a supportive ear? That's where a simple question changes everything. Cheat code number 32. Help or fix question. Ever jumped in to help only to realize the other person wasn't asking for solutions? Many times, people just want someone to listen or be there with them, not fix the problem. Asking, "Do you want support or solutions?" can transform the conversation instantly. This question respects their needs and avoids frustration on both sides. It shows you care about how they want to be helped, which deepens connection and prevents miscommunication. Checking if someone wants support or solutions prevents misunderstandings and fosters empathy. Sometimes the most powerful communication isn't what you say, but what you don't say. How can silence become your secret weapon? Cheat code number 33. The speaking silence. We often think silence means discomfort or avoidance, so we rush to fill it with words. But silence itself is a powerful form of communication. When someone is upset or struggling, silence creates a safe space for emotions to surface naturally. It says, "I'm here with you. Take your time." Silence lets the other person process thoughts and feelings without pressure. It signals patience, respect, and presence, which can calm tense situations more than any advice or quick response. It's a way of truly listening without interrupting or rushing to conclusions. By embracing silence, you allow conversations to breathe and emotions to unfold authentically. It's a subtle but strong way to show you care. Silence isn't emptiness. It's an active, empathetic response that fosters deeper connection. So, after holding space in silence, what's the next step to help someone feel truly heard? Cheat code number 34. Understand first rule. When someone shares a problem, the natural impulse is to jump in with solutions. But often, this response backfires. People want their feelings acknowledged before advice. Validation means recognizing and accepting someone's emotions without judgment or rushing to fix things. Saying things like, "That sounds really tough," or "I understand why you feel that way," tells them their feelings are real and respected. This creates a safe emotional environment where they can be vulnerable. Instead of shutting down or feeling dismissed, they open up more. Validation builds trust and connection far more effectively than problem solving alone. It's about honoring the emotional experience, not just the facts. Validating feelings is often more healing than offering solutions. If validation sets the stage for deeper talks, what simple invitation encourages someone to share even more? Cheat code number 35. Tell me more, Keith. Instead of immediately offering advice, try saying, "Tell me more about that." This simple phrase is a powerful invitation for someone to open up and explore their feelings or thoughts in depth. It shows you're genuinely interested, not just trying to fix their problem. This kind of curiosity lowers defenses and builds trust, allowing for more honest, meaningful conversations. Often, people discover their own insights when they talk more fully about what they're experiencing. By encouraging others to speak without interruption or judgment, you foster connection and understanding that advice alone can't achieve. It's a gentle way to hold space for someone's story. Inviting elaboration fosters deeper connection and self-reflection. And when you want to validate someone's feelings quickly, what simple phrase works like magic? Cheat code number 36. The "that makes sense" phrase. Have you ever felt instantly calmer when someone says, "That makes sense"? These three words are powerful because they validate feelings without needing to agree or fix anything. This phrase communicates empathy. It says, "Your feelings are understandable and accepted." It lowers defenses and creates emotional safety, encouraging people to open up further. Unlike trying to prove a point, that makes sense acknowledges perspective, which builds trust and connection. Using this phrase helps conversations flow smoothly, even during tough discussions. It's a simple tool that fosters respect and reduces conflict by showing you're truly listening. Saying, "That makes sense," validates emotions and builds trust effortlessly. But what if you could connect even deeper by matching someone's tone and rhythm? That's where the next communication skill comes in. Cheat code number 37. Listen like gold. Most conversations don't feel truly heard because people are busy preparing their next point instead of really listening. It's like everyone's talking at each other, not to each other. But what if you could stand out by actually listening? Listening deeply means focusing fully on the speaker, their words, tone, and body language, without planning your reply while they talk. It's rare because it takes patience and presence. When you listen like this, you create a space where others feel truly seen and valued. That feeling shifts conversations from conflict to connection. Most people miss this, which is why genuine listeners are unforgettable. Active listening means silence in your mind, so you can hear more than just words. If listening well is so powerful, what's the next step to avoid needless conflict? Cheat code number 38. Last word: surrender. Have you ever felt compelled to have the final say in an argument? It's tempting because it feels like winning. But here's the twist. Winning a conversation doesn't mean getting the last word. It means maintaining respect and peace. Often, insisting on the last word escalates tension and damages relationships. Real strength lies in knowing when to step back. When you pause or let silence fill the space, you break the cycle of escalation. Sometimes, walking away or simply nodding is the bravest and wisest choice. Choosing peace over pride doesn't mean you lose. It means you prioritize harmony over ego. Winning peace matters more than winning arguments. Once you let go of needing the last word, how do you handle conflicts without them spiraling? Cheat code number 39. Peace over win. Arguments often feel like battles to prove who's right. But what if the real goal was to find peace instead? Trying to win often leads to hurt feelings and resentment. Instead, aiming to win peace means focusing on understanding and connection, not domination. When you shift your mindset to peace, you become less reactive and more compassionate. You listen for meaning, not just to reply. This opens the door to solutions that satisfy both sides. Conflict becomes a chance for growth rather than destruction. Winning peace means knowing what really matters. Relationships over points scored. Prioritizing peace transforms conflicts into opportunities for connection. If peace is the goal, how can empathy stop conflicts before they even start? Cheat code number 40. Empathy firewall. Imagine if conflicts could be stopped before they even began. That's the power of empathy, the ability to genuinely understand and share someone else's feelings. Empathy diffuses tension by showing you care, which often prevents arguments from escalating. When you respond with empathy, you signal, "I'm with you, not against you." This shifts defensive walls into open doors. It's not about agreeing with everything but about recognizing the emotional truth behind words. Empathy rewires conversations from battles into bridges, creating safety where honesty and understanding can flourish. Empathy is the most effective tool to prevent conflict and build trust. What if the secret to respect, from others and yourself, starts with learning to say no without guilt. And how can that simple word transform your whole life? Let's dive in. Chapter 5. Boundaries and Self-Respect. Have you ever said yes to something even when every part of you screamed no? It feels easier at the moment, avoiding conflict, pleasing others, or just going along with the flow. But each time you do, you chip away at your own self-respect without even realizing it. Boundaries aren't just rules for others. They're a way to protect your inner peace and honor your true feelings. In this chapter, we will explore how setting clear, kind boundaries isn't selfish. It's essential for living authentically and with dignity. Cheat code number 41. Teach how to treat you. Have you ever wondered why some people keep crossing your lines, even after you have said no? It's because without clear boundaries, you're sending mixed signals, unintentionally teaching others what's okay and what isn't. When you allow disrespect or discomfort to slide, you're basically showing people how to treat you. But what if setting boundaries could change all that? The surprising truth is that people actually respect you more when you clearly define what you will and won't accept. Boundaries aren't walls. They're guideposts for healthy relationships. Once you take control of what you allow, others naturally adjust. The question is, why do so many struggle to enforce these limits? It often comes down to fear of conflict or guilt. But what if those feelings aren't the real problem? Your boundaries teach others how to treat you. So, how exactly do boundaries balance caring for yourself and others without pushing people away? Cheat code number 42. Love distance. Think of boundaries not as barriers, but as the space where love and respect coexist, not just for others but for yourself too. A boundary creates the perfect distance where you can care for someone deeply while still honoring your own needs. Sounds tricky? It is, but it's also powerful. Without boundaries, relationships become one-sided. Either you lose yourself trying to please or others feel suffocated by your demands. Imagine a scale that balances your well-being and your care for others. Finding that just right distance is what boundaries do. But here's the catch. Many confuse boundaries with rejection or selfishness. What if the real gift of a boundary is freedom? Freedom to love without losing yourself. Boundaries create healthy space for love to flow both ways. If boundaries are so freeing, why do so many feel guilty or selfish when they set them? Cheat code number 43. No need to explain no. Saying no can be the hardest word, especially when we feel pressured to justify ourselves. But here's the truth. You don't owe anyone an explanation for protecting your time, energy, or peace. When you say yes just to avoid awkwardness or disappointment, you're sacrificing your own needs. Think about it. How often have you felt drained because you explained your no only for the other person to argue or try to change your mind? That's because no is a complete sentence. It stands on its own. The power is in respecting yourself enough to say it without excuses. This doesn't mean you have to be harsh or rude, just clear and firm. But why do we find this so hard? No is enough. No explanation needed. What happens inside you when you stop over-explaining your no? And how can this shift your self-respect? Cheat code number 44. Guilt's fake signal. Have you ever felt guilty after saying no? That heavy feeling can be confusing, right? It's easy to mistake guilt for a sign you have done something wrong, but they're not the same. Guilt is an emotion that often comes from wanting to be seen as good or helpful. But what if guilt is just a feeling, nothing more? Learning to separate guilt from actual wrongdoing is crucial for healthy boundaries. You can say no, feel guilt, and still be doing the right thing by honoring your limits. It's a skill that takes practice because guilt tries to sneak in as a warning sign, but really, it can be your inner critic wearing a disguise. So how do you tell the difference? Feeling guilty doesn't mean you're wrong. How can you reframe guilt to support your boundaries instead of sabotaging them? Cheat code number 45. Your yes has a cost. At first, saying yes to every request feels like you're being helpful or popular. But there's a hidden cost. When you say yes too much, you're quietly saying no to your own goals, rest, and happiness. Imagine your time and energy as a bank account. Each yes is a withdrawal. If you don't keep track, you will eventually run out. The challenge? It's easier to say yes because saying no can feel uncomfortable or selfish. But here's the secret. Every time you say yes to something that isn't a priority, you dilute your focus and sacrifice what truly matters to you. The question is, how do you begin choosing your yes wisely? Saying yes to everything costs your own priorities. What practical steps can you take to say yes to your priorities and no to distractions? How do you start saying no without feeling selfish? The next chapter will reveal the tools to make that easier. Cheat code number 46. Boundary backlash. Ever noticed how the people who protest your boundaries the loudest are usually the ones who were benefiting from you not having any? That's not a coincidence, it's a clue. Boundaries don't harm healthy relationships, they reveal imbalanced ones. When you say, "I can't do that," and someone gets angry, it often means your self-sacrifice was their comfort zone. This isn't about being cruel, it's about being clear. You're not punishing anyone. You're choosing peace over people-pleasing. The reaction you get isn't proof you're wrong. It's proof the dynamic was lopsided to begin with. But how do you hold your ground without feeling like the bad guy? That's the next piece of the puzzle. Pushback isn't a sign your boundary is wrong. It's a sign it's working. What happens when you stop paying emotional rent just to keep the peace? Cheat code number 47. Peace price tag. We all weigh the cost of things. Money, time, energy. But there's a currency more valuable than all of them, your peace. And yet, people constantly trade it away. For approval, for comfort, for not making waves. But here's the truth. If something consistently robs you of calm, clarity, or sleep, it's too expensive no matter what it offers. That job, that friendship, that habit. We tend to cling to what's familiar, even when it drains us. But what if peace isn't passive? What if it's a powerful, active choice? Choosing peace often requires letting go, not out of weakness, but out of deep respect for your mental ecosystem. So how do you tell if something is truly costing you peace, or if it's just discomfort disguised as growth? Anything that costs you your peace isn't worth the price. What if peace isn't found? It's built, one hard choice at a time. Cheat code number 48. Freedom's first step. We often chase peace like it's a vacation spot we will reach someday. After the project ends, the breakup heals, or the to-do list finally clears. But peace doesn't wait at the end. It begins with a decision. It starts the moment you stop outsourcing your calm to other people's behavior or life's conditions. That's hard to accept because it puts the responsibility back in your hands. But here's the shift. Peace isn't what happens when everything goes right. It's what happens when you choose not to be ruled by what goes wrong. You get to decide, moment by moment, how much access chaos gets to your inner world. But if peace is a decision, how do you make that decision stick when emotions are loud and life is messy? Peace isn't a place you reach. It's a boundary you choose. So if peace is chosen, what's the cost of choosing freedom? Cheat code number 49. Self-respect shield. Here's the secret nobody tells you. Freedom isn't comfortable. It's empowering, yes, but not always easy. Saying no, leaving the group chat, setting boundaries, asking for what you need. All of it comes with a sting. That sting? It's discomfort, and most people avoid it like the plague. But here's the reframe: that discomfort isn't a sign to retreat, it's the toll you pay to exit the patterns that keep you stuck. Every boundary costs you something: approval, ease, a temporary high. But on the other side is something bigger: self-respect, clarity, peace. So when you feel that tension rising, pause and ask, is this discomfort, or is it growth in disguise? Freedom doesn't feel good at first. It feels honest. What shifts when you realize your discomfort is a doorway, not a dead end? Cheat code number 50. Apology currency. There's a quiet power in walking through the world without constantly shrinking. Not because you're loud or defiant, but because you respect yourself enough to stop apologizing for simply existing. Think about it. How often do you say sorry for things that don't need an apology? For saying no, for needing space, for choosing differently. When you build self-respect, those reflex apologies fade. You stop over-explaining, you stop performing, and instead, you stand rooted in clarity. This isn't arrogance, it's alignment. The deeper your self-respect runs, the less you seek validation. And when you no longer need to be liked to feel okay, that's when everything changes. But what if the real secret to confidence has nothing to do with how others see you? Self-respect silences the need for constant apologies. So if self-respect quiets the noise, how does it shape the way you earn, spend, and decide? Boundaries don't push people away. They show who's meant to stay. These aren't just cheat codes. They're truth triggers, designed to help you play life with clarity, strength, and joy. Watch out our next video for the rest of the chapters and cheat codes.